Yeah, for sure, man. Sorry, I was teaching a camp this morning. I haven't taught in like 4 months, so I came to Bend, Oregon this weekend, and my wife came with me, so I taught 4 hours this morning, and I had to rush back to the hotel. But no, all good, all good. Thanks for
all good. Oh no, pleasure. We're thrilled that you're here. And are you in Oregon?
Correct. Yeah, I'm in a beautiful place called Bend. It's central Oregon. It's actually kind of like my area that I live in North Idaho, Coeur d'Alene. But yeah, beautiful with forest and pine trees all over, and it's got a nice brewery scene. And my wife and I are going to float the river downtown today. She's at the spa right now getting pampered. But no. So yeah, here until Sunday, and then we're flying back to Coeur d'Alene.
Sounds nice.
But yeah,
nice.
That's great. Yeah, I did see you're on Instagram, because you're pretty active on Instagram. I follow you, and I see your stories, your where you are. I saw this beautiful 2 courts with the mountains in the background.
Yeah, it's
really
pretty cool. No, and like the mountains in the background still, like probably 25% of the top still has snow on it. No, it's pretty
nice.
But yeah, nice little retirement community.
Great. Okay. Well, so I think we can start. There might be some other friends who will join in at different times.
Yeah.
So thanks very much, Tyson, for joining us. So just to give you a bit of background, so this is in a group of international pickleball friends. So we started so it all began about when the pandemic began. So about 15 weeks ago. I've lost count. Now when it was around March.
Long time, Roberto.
Long time ago, yes. Yeah, it feels ages. So essentially, we were supposed to have a Bainbridge Cup. Do you know much about the Bainbridge Cup?
You know what? I'm not very educated with anything else that's taking place outside of the U.S. But
fair enough.
But know that the next year or so, obviously I was going to try to make a push to obviously be seen more international, grow my brand, whether it's camps, tournaments, or just, traveling and like pushing pickleball, and obviously, just trying to push the brand and all that good stuff. So know that it's in the making, and I would love to come.
Yeah, well, you have to come.
Yeah, right.
There you go. Book over July next year, Tyson.
All right, man. All right. Let me talk to the boss first. let me talk to the boss.
Yeah, you need to influence him.
Yeah, right. We have a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old and one on the way. So yeah, if she's willing to travel and make the travel, then yeah, definitely. But cool.
Great. Okay, yeah. So essentially, when we knew that the Bainbridge Cup was going to be cancelled and several other tournaments, so we are talking about how we can keep in touch during this difficult time, and then we created we had a WhatsApp group, and then we started like a Zoom chat. I mean, I didn't know Zoom existed at that time. So I was introduced to this new world of meeting virtually.
Right, of course.
And have like up to 100 people, so apparently you can have even more than 100. But so yeah, anyway, we started to meet up once a week, and then we had the idea to invite pro players. And the first place we had were Ben and Colin Jones.
Right.
And then we had other
who I guess are kind of nice guys.
Yeah, you know it well, right?
You know what? I've been losing to Ben way too often these days. All right, I'm 10 years older and I got 3 kids, and so he needs to either pop out some kids or just turn the age 30.
Yeah.
I learned from Simone that she called him a kid anyway. So
that's funny.
Well, it's amazing. We watch, the. I mean, when I watch the finals, it's always you two, and it's like, okay, here we go. This is another final, against these two great players. But
Right.
they're very close matches. I think
No, for sure. Well, yeah, thank you.
Please.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, it's great to watch.
It's like,
I really love to watch.
It's
you
like
anyway.
the Roger Nadal.
Yeah, that's
rivalry,
right.
Just on pickleball.
Yeah.
Taking into account that obviously doubles is much more attractive in pickleball than singles right now, which is kind of flip flop for tennis. But no, man, it's I've always I have a lot of respect for Ben. I think we've kind of grown to like respect each other in a different area, just with obviously playing together or playing against each other the last 3 or 4 years. Whether it's in mixed, men's, singles, but no, man. I mean, he's for being 20 or 21 years old, he's an old soul, and I mean just overall he's a really good guy. So I got nothing bad to say about that gentleman.
Yeah. Okay,
but I have to say, Tyson, I have to say that you and Ben have brought singles to a whole new level, because you use strategies and shots that we have seen before we have seen only done in doubles. So
right, and that's very true. Yeah,
it's like a cat and mouse, but you two are just covering the whole court, and it's impossible, and fantastic to watch.
Well, thank you. No, yeah. It kind of more comes down to who's got more in the gas tank, later on in the day, and physically who can suffer and kind of like sustain it. But yeah, no, I think we obviously kind of changed the game of singles a little bit, slowed it down, made it much more like appealing to watch. I mean, honestly, and I even hear this time and time again, like watching Ben and I singles matches is like more attractive than even watching some of the doubles matches, just because physically we're kind of beating each other into the ground. But no, it's fun. I mean, obviously I grew up as a wrestler, so that gritty kind of like suffering mentality of like being a wrestler and suffering in practice and kind of just pushing my body to the limits. I feel like I'm able to get that same satisfaction when I play singles in pickleball. I'm all out there by myself, and no, so I truly appreciate playing singles by myself and being able to push my body like that. But yeah, Ben's cat and mouse is pretty good these days. Go ahead, sorry.
Great. We're really looking forward to see you two more, more finals to come, so hopefully, soon, if not this year, next year, hopefully, pickleball will resume to normal,
right?
And new normal.
Right. Yeah. No, it sounds like, so I have an ESPN event next Saturday in Fort Myers. Everybody should watch. Not too sure what actually, you know what? No, it's July 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So what is that?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay. So anyhow, so yeah, 10 a.m. Eastern time next Saturday is our first
4-hour difference.
5 hours.
Okay, 4 hour difference.
5 hour difference. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so playing that event kind of cool. It's like the top 5 guys, top 5 girls in the world, and then I go home for a couple weeks, teach a few 3-day camps, and then it's kind of crazy. I mean, it sounds like all the tournaments are going to go the end of July. The first tournament I'm going to play is Denver. I'm going to play. I'm playing doubles this whole year with Riley Newman. I'm going to play doubles next year with Riley Newman as well. I just got him locked in for 2 years. He's one tough cookie, if you know what I mean. Very, very talented and kind of has that same like physical, like gritty mentality as me, and we actually both grew up like in the Pacific Northwest in Washington. Kind of funny. I actually played Riley in tennis back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And kind of a fun story. We actually kind of got into it. So here we are, and it's come full circle. Here we are, I don't know, 6 or 8 years later. Now we're playing doubles together. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we have a tournament the end of July in Denver, and then more so from like then on through the end of October. I mean, it's like every other weekend. So I mean, I I just got notice today from the PPA and the APP that they're taking all the safety precaution and more so just letting people come at their own risk. But obviously they're doing everything they can to stay safe and keep social distancing. But yeah, weird times, weird year. Jeez Louise. But
okay, great. So yeah, Tyson, I've sent you a couple of emails with some questions. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to see them. So there's a couple of emails with some questions. If you want to maybe in no particular order, as you wish. To sort of like just answer them and let us know what you think. There will be some other sort of like questions following your answer. So if that's okay with you, we can.
For sure.
It's just very informal, very friendly. So.
Okay. Hang on real quick. I'm on my phone right now, which has my email.
Okay.
So here we go. Here we go. No, I should be able to sign into my computer real quick. Give me 1 sec here. But yeah, I guess just like a little branding push. Anybody who wants to follow me, you guys can follow me on Instagram. Follow me at Tyson McGuffin. Just like what Roberto said, I'm pretty active on social media, but I kind of stick within the parameters of the athlete, the dad, the teacher. You can subscribe to my website as well by going to TysonMcGuffin.com. I do a fun little like monthly newsletter with my website and some instructional videos. So yeah, if you guys want to find me or find anything that I'm doing, go ahead and follow me. Hang on real quick here.
Hey, while Tyson is logging in, first of all, I love your video on reset on the ding. That was fantastic. So
yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I want to
go ahead.
Also, I see that Lisa Weir and Kumar Raghav are logged in, and Lisa and Kumar are friends from mine from New Brunswick, Canada. And Lisa's actually the new president of New Brunswick Pickleball, and Kumar is the treasurer. So I just want to welcome them to the call. Cool. And it's great to see.
Hi, everyone. We just got finished painting a whole bunch of courts, so we're very disgusting and sweaty. That's why we're not on the screen.
Oh, my gosh.
And I can't the border to open, so I can go try them out, Lisa.
All right, there we go.
Come on up to Canada. Everybody, you're all welcome. We just painted, in the last 2 days, we now have 12 outdoor courts.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool. Where is this at again?
New Brunswick. Here we go.
St. John, New Brunswick, Canada.
Okay.
We're about an hour away from Calais, Maine.
Okay. Okay, so I can get into these questions now, Roberto, if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so first question that I'm looking. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Tyson. Go ahead.
No worries at all. Okay, so first question that I'm looking at. This is from David Bungard.
Yeah.
Hi, Tyson.
Hi, Tyson.
David, what's up, buddy? How are you, my man?
I'm good.
It says, hey, Tyson, I read in an interview you gave in January last year that one of the biggest selling points of pickleball is the camaraderie, the family-oriented feel, and how embracing people are in the game. There's no cattiness. There's no clickiness. There's none of that country club nonsense you get at a tennis club. Do you feel the same way about this today? And do you think this might change as the sport becomes more professionally oriented? Yes. I mean, obviously, I think we all wanted to keep it small and unique and wild west, if you want to call it that. So I think what obviously sells in pickleball right now is that unique feel. It's super embracing. It's embracing for beginners to come in to a certain degree, obviously. I think that's one of like the biggest selling points about pickleball. But obviously we're seeing more racket sport athletes coming in, whether it's golf, tennis, but we're starting to see a higher class come into the sport. Now I've seen it both ways. I've seen that higher class get humbled to a certain degree by showing up to the pickleball court and just, I guess, understanding the persona and how things are ran and stuff like that, and how really like there's all walks of life playing. I mean, you could see, somebody in like a Superman outfit playing on court 2, or you could see Gizmo on court 8, with with this cheeseburger outfit. I think when there's more money coming in, I think that might change, obviously. I think at the top level, with more money coming in, with more corporate sponsors, all that, it might change. It might change that. I think pros, there's plenty of pros right now. Bless their hearts, but there's a lot of pros out there that have a lot of ego. But at the end of the day, nobody's really making money right now, so it's silly to even have ego. So that ego is going to be, it's going to be a little tremendous, a little. I mean, obviously much bigger once more money comes in. I'm not going to name anybody, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I think in general, obviously we all wanted to keep it small, but I think it's going to grow. I don't know how catty it's going to get and stuff like that. I mean, I just know that, like, I taught tennis for 10 years, worked at all the high-end country clubs, did all that. And I don't know, just for me, like, I appreciate the pickleball community much deeper than the tennis community. Nothing against the tennis community, but yeah, it's just super unique what the pickleball community brings, and then let's see here. Next one is Tyson. We came across many ex-tennis players coming into pickleball, mainly because tennis is more strenuous on aging populations, strength, agility, and agility to hit the ball hard. How many tennis players still seem to want to play pickleball as tennis on a mini court? And how do you convince ex-tennis players to embrace all the aspects of pickleball, including dinking, third shot drops, not used in tennis, rather than driving, smashing, and lobbing the ball? David, all good questions. So I would tell an ex-tennis player, as they come into the sport, I would say, look at the top level and look how the game slows down at a higher level. You take a look at other sports, whether it's tennis, racquetball, ping pong, the game speeds up at a higher level. But in pickleball, with the skill set being soft and finesse and utilizing the kitchen as a neutralizer and, all the cat and mouse fun stuff, it's just like the top level is more advanced with feely touchy, where the lower level is more advanced. I shouldn't say more advanced, but the lower level is more prone to obviously drive and bang and probably play in a way where it's not very calculated, right? Now obviously I think we're starting to see at the highest level that we're starting to speed up a bit more. We're starting to look to disguise more shots and speed up, and then really utilize our hands. I think if pickleball is going to make it on TV, I think they either need to increase paddle head, or they need to increase power and paddles, or just all in all, the game just needs to speed up. I mean, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I know I've heard from plenty of people that just pickleball on YouTube or pickleball on TV from a bird's eye view as you're watching doubles, it looks pretty simple. It doesn't look like it's all that difficult. So I think, if it's going to make it, it's probably going to be speeding up a bit more, or just in general, whether it's ball technology or paddle technology, just looking to, I guess, looking to speed up a bit more, or be more aggressive. How do you convince ex-tennis players to embrace all aspects? They've got to trust the formula. They've got to trust the process. I know that my doubles game got tremendously better when I dumbed everything down and I said, hey, I'm not going to take a lot of risk. I'm just going to play by the book. I'm going to play the percentages. Everybody puts their underwear on the same way, and so, yeah, I think.
Sorry, you played a game with Agassi and
Roddick, yeah, Roddick, and then Gary Vandercheck. He's like a Instagram influencer. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Down? Did they enjoy the game?
Well, so I mean, if you guys watch my podcast, I usually speak pretty bluntly. But I mean, I don't know. I would say that we were almost chopped liver. All the pickleball pros were more so chopped liver, and it was more so about Agassi. I mean, obviously, right? It was their foundation. More so we had gone to this individual's house who has a lot of money and he loves pickleball, and so he was donating $10,000 to either Roddick's foundation or Roddick's charity or Agassi's charity. And so there was 6 matches, and the owner of the house donated 60 grand. But it was we were told to not play hard. We were told to make it fun. it was, I mean, it was a great experience. I got to shake their hand, take photos and all that. But it's kind of funny. Roddick like talked a little trash, that's kind of like his persona. He's kind of got a mouth on him, in which I like. No, I thought it was super cool. I guess I thought that like the pickleball pros would like get more attention in that scenario, but no, it was not about us at all, which is totally fine. It didn't hurt me at all. But no, I mean that's probably
what did they think?
They I mean, as you guys could see, the level wasn't all that great. Agassi, poor Agassi, like his body looks like it's about to fall apart. He was so stiff, man. I feel so bad for the guy. He was in like a black tracksuit, and it was like 95 degrees out in Austin, Texas, and he was staying at the baseline and just teeing off on forehands. It was kind of funny. I mean, they obviously played like baseliners. They really never came in. There was one individual. His name's Amir Delic, and he was like top 150 in the world in doubles. And he's actually pretty good. He's like a 5-0 pickleball player that plays pretty regularly in Austin. But I would say like my coolest like 2 experiences of like exposure in pickleball was meeting those guys, and then also my little like 10-second segment on the Today Show last year.
Yeah. Can anybody hear me? Can I be heard or not?
Jimbo,
Yes.
we can hear you. We can't see you.
Okay. How do I get Jimbo to be seen by this handsome guy with a beard, mustache, and 53 different tattoos all over his Jesus?
There you go,
Tyson.
Jimbo. You put the
There you
camera
are.
on. Hey.
Okay,
Jimbo
Coach
hat.
Jimbo here. Hey, Tyson. I want to know
Jimbo, what's up, buddy?
I want to know how your kid is doing, and I want to know how the relationship sustains all this travel and everything else, knowing that your wife is a good player too. But talk about the personal side of this, would you?
Yeah, no, for sure. So it would not happen if my wife wasn't extremely patient.
Yes.
Bless her heart. She's a sweetheart, and she can always run circles around me. So she runs a business. She owns a water bottling and treatment system company where they co-pack for other companies. They also have their own springs, so they bottle their own water, and then they can come in and do water treatment systems. So she's got that.
Awesome.
That runs to a T. She doesn't have to be there a whole lot. And luckily, she's kind of paid her dues and worked her butt off to get to a position where she doesn't have to be there all the time. So yeah, I mean, I guess her, her having that freedom helps with her, traveling with me and stuff like that. But yeah, kiddos are doing good. Our oldest is 13, and then our youngest is 6. Our oldest is special needs. He has a syndrome called He has a syndrome called
No problem.
Smith-Magenis. So it's kind of a little strange, but his circadian rhythm is backwards, and just typical, issues with special needs kid. But yeah, so we juggle the 13-year-old, juggle the 6-year-old. Got one more on the way. I mean, we live a crazy lifestyle. I mean, honestly, the time that we have together is always precious. So she obviously here with me right now. We're spending lots of time together. So, and we got no kids, so it's a kidless weekend.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah. Which is the better pickleball player, the 6 or 13-year-old?
The 6-year-old. So the 6-year-old is from my previous, and the 13-year-old is from her previous.
Right.
So my 6-year-old, I kind of got him started at a pretty young age, and he's like a spitting version of me. He's very competitive. So he'll do whatever it takes to get the W, whether that's cheating in board games or cheating in card games. But yeah, anytime, it's kind of funny. He's totally in that mode of like, anytime we play anything competitively, he like has to change the rules so he ends up winning. Right? He's always modifying the rules.
Okay. Well, Elite Athletes Management Agency, which is a part of my Spirit of the Hummingbird website, wants to represent the two of you, the youngest, and you to get some big bucks into this game beyond PPA. And that's something we can talk about. I've talked with Kyle and Matt and a couple of other people about to get. I know you've got a wonderful coach, and we talked with him a couple of weeks ago. But I want to up the ante for you guys that are at the top level, and to get major money and sponsorship, not just a piece of the action when you win the singles, which you may get $5,000 for. You should be getting $50,000.
No, that would definitely be the day. Yeah, Jim. I mean, any sort of help that you can give, bud, I'm more than appreciative.
We're gonna make it happen. Switch to the other questions. I'm sorry to mention intrude there.
No worries at all. Okay, so I will go off of the next question here. Let's see here. Okay, so this is from Karen Mitchell. Is Karen on? Oh, hey, Karen, right there. Oh, there she is. Okay. Karen said, congratulations on your baby news. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. Who introduced you to pickleball? So, yep. Always love talking about this. So there's a gentleman at my home club, or I shouldn't say home club, but at the old tennis club that I used to work at. It's called the Yakima Tennis Club in Central Washington. And he used to take tennis lessons from me. And he ended up like hurting his shoulder, and he couldn't play tennis anymore, and he couldn't really serve. I think he like tried to play tennis, but like he would try to serve underhand. Anyhow, he was just in a position where he could not play tennis anymore. And he's like, you know, in his 60s, but still had plenty of fire to like compete and play some sort of racket sport. And so, yeah, he started playing at the local YMCA and kept bugging me. Like he'd play at the YMCA, and then he'd come down to the tennis club and like interrupt my lesson, and he'd be like, Tyson, like you've got to play pickleball. And I'm like, no, don't interrupt my lesson, right? So after like 6 months of him just bugging the hell out of me and like interrupting my lessons, he would like come on court randomly. Finally, I'm like, okay, I've got to freaking try this goofy game. So ended up like showing up to the local YMCA. You know, there was like, it wasn't an idea. I mean, it's like a typical venue location, you know, worldwide, like 3 courts, 40 people there, you know, like not much. I mean, not a whole lot of organization, but just like obviously way too many people, not enough courts. So I remember like I like, you know, court 1 was like 3-0, court like 2 was 3-5, and then court 4 was court 1 was 3-0. 2 was 3-5, and then court 3 was like 4-0 plus. Anyhow, I thought I'd venture over to the 4-0 plus, right? So I see Bill over there, and there's like, you know, 6 people waiting for this 4-0 court. Bill gets me in right away, and like, yeah, I think like some of the first things that I noticed is, holy shit, like the ball doesn't bounce, and so I remember like really getting very low, and like we're playing on a gym floor and the ball's skidding and there's lines everywhere. I mean, it's not ideal. So yeah, I was so confused with like, I mean, we were playing with a jugs ball, and we've all obviously, I'm pretty sure, played with a jugs ball, very soft. I mean, you literally like, if you're going to put the ball away, you have to swing and get out of your shoes to even put it away. So like, here I am like thinking I'm like this stud tennis player, and anyhow, I mean, I don't think I ever hit one dink that first game. I think I like hit a return, tried to stay back, and just tried to like, you know, bail my way out. And anyhow, I was so confused and very concerned after about an hour and a half because I didn't win one game. And I'm like, you know, losing hand speed battles to like 4-0, 4-5 guys, you know, older than me. And so I'm like insecure. Anyhow, this is how like competitive I am. I went home that night, and I kid you not, I freaking watched every single video on YouTube about pickleball. Oh yeah. So did my research, and then came back a couple of days later, figured out that I had to come in, figured out that I had to like dink a little bit and then speed up, and then look to clean up off my speed up. Anyhow, you know, within a week I was playing at like a decent 4 or 5 level. And so yeah, and then when and where was this that you started playing? So it was in Yakima, and it was like the summer of 2015. Actually, my first tournament was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and it was the Selkirk sponsored Coeur d'Alene tournament. And I remember coming in, and I knew nobody knew me. And I remember coming in, and I played 4 or 5 singles, and I only played singles. I came in, played 4 or 5 singles, and I beat everybody pretty handily. And then I was like watching the 5-0 division and watching the pro division, and I'm like, shoot, I'm like, I can hang with those guys. So 3 months later, played like my first pro tournament, only played singles, and ended up making it to the finals, and then lost in the finals. But like that day, I think I played, I don't know, like 16 individual games of singles. And I kid you not, I remember waking up the next day with like the biggest case of pickle butt. I don't know if you guys know what pickle butt is, but it's like, you know, after playing pickleball for a decent amount of time, and you're moving the correct way, you're moving in like an efficient way, and you wake up and you feel like your hiney's about to fall off. So that was my first experience. Question number 2 is, Morgan let slip you used to wrestle. Tell us about that, and do you have racket sport background? Yeah, so used to wrestle, started wrestling at the age of 5. I'm the youngest of 7. My oldest brother was an All-American at Boise State University. You know, he's like, you know, your typical wrestler, like 5'6", got big cauliflower ears, just one tough son of a gun. Yeah, you know, my dad was my wrestling coach growing up. And at the age of 14, he introduced me to tennis. And at that point in time, I was like, oh man, this is my out. Like, I was the last McGuffin to wrestle. All the pressure was on me to be like my oldest brother and to like wrestle in college. And that really wasn't my dream. And so when I found tennis at the age of 14, I'm like, oh man, like, first of all, if I don't have to cut weight. Second off, I don't have to wear a singlet. And then like, I don't have to have my dad in my ear, and it's healthier on my dad and I's relationship that he doesn't coach me, right? And so, yeah, like right then and there, I'm like, oh man, like I'm going to take off with this and see where I'm at. And so, you know, grew up in like a low income family, like, you know, parents didn't have a lot of money, but my dad, like, I mean, he's like I don't know. I mean, he's a super nice guy. He passed away 5 years ago, but he was like your typical dad that would just do anything for their kids, right? You'd always go like above and beyond. And so anyhow, so he'd take me to tennis lessons and drive me all over. And so I still wrestled until my senior year of high school, but like my schedule in high school was, you know, I'd go to school from 8 to 3, and then I would go to wrestling practice from 3 to 5. And then my dad would drive me like an hour down to like this town that had a tennis club, and I would take a tennis lesson from like 6 to 8, and then we'd do it all over again. And it was the same schedule, like 3 or 4 days a week. So yeah, and bless my dad's heart, or I kind of broke his heart, because senior year, I had to tell my dad that I was going to take a tennis scholarship and that I wasn't going to wrestle in college. So I kind of waited on that as long as I could. And then also too, yeah, do you have any racket sport background? Obviously I played tennis, started playing tennis at the age of 14. I won 2 state high school titles for my high school. But I was always playing catch up, you know, in tennis. I started late. Technically, my game wasn't all that sound. So I kind of just like, I use my physicality, I use my speed, I use just like my inner kind of grittiness that I got from wrestling to just be mentally tough and beat people, like in that sense. And then obviously over time, then my game, you know, got much more rounded and technically got a lot better. And then, yeah, played 2 years of junior college tennis. And then played some like open tennis, got to like a 5.5. I could hang with guys, or I could like, you know, play with guys who were like top 1,500 in the world, but that's about it. Question number 3 is, how long did it take you to get to a high standard? So I would say in singles, it took me about, like, once I started playing competitively, it took me about 3 months to be like top 3 in singles. Doubles, it probably took me, I mean, I don't know, like my first year of playing doubles, I got like, I mean, it was 2 and out a lot, but towards the end of the year at nationals, I had got my ass kicked for so long throughout the whole year. This was like back in 2016 that I finally like started figuring out my doubles, and I ended up taking like 4th in age at nationals, and then took 4th in open at nationals, and that was my first year. And then after that, then I really found my doubles and kind of came into my own. But so yeah, so singles, you know, 2 to 3 months, and then doubles about, you know, I don't know, 8 to 10 months, something like that. Number 4 is, could you talk us through your top favorite training drills and how they have changed over the year? Yeah, so a lot of the drills that I do, I always start out with just like a bunch of reps, forehand to forehand, dinking cross court, backhand to backhand, dinking cross court. And then like within those parameters, dinks out of the air, dinks off the bounce, getting my feet in the correct position, stuff like that. Anytime that we're dinking head to head, do a lot of stuff where it's figure eights, it's a little situational, or it's a little selective. Like if I'm going up the line, I would be going cross court diagonally, and then my partner would be going up the line. That makes sense. Figure eights. I don't know if you guys have done figure eights. We call them butterflies or figure eights. But it's a good directional drill that forces you to like really, have to move and be stretched and just understand, I guess, how to move efficiently from the kitchen line. And then also too, obviously slinky back to the kitchen line. I mean, honestly, I'm taking reps in every area, both ways cross court and then both ways up the line, whether it's dinks, volleys, drops, drives, all that stuff. So always start out with just a bunch of reps, get my feel, get super comfortable. And then from there, we always kind of have a topic, I usually spend like an hour and a half playing singles with one person. And then I spend like an hour and a half playing like half court skinny with one person. Kyle McKenzie is a good buddy of mine. He's been in my podcast, I don't know, the last 6 weeks, but he lives in Spokane right next to me. And he's one of my training partners. He's like a top 20 guy in singles and probably like a top, 40 guy, top 30 guy in doubles. But so he's more so like my guy that I play singles with. And then after that session, then I'll have Matt Goebel come in. Matt Goebel and I won TOC, a couple of years ago. Matt's more of a double specialist. So Matt and I would do a lot of like situational drills in doubles where maybe one side's attacking, the other side's counterattacking. But anytime that we're doing situational games or drills, we always take out the serve and we always take out the return. I think it's very necessary if you're looking to be like a bit more specific with a particular topic to take out all the baggage and then to really hone in on like the main focus. So for example, if I want to work on my hands and I want to work on counterattacking, whether it's punching, blocking, or getting the hell out of the way, we would do some situational games where it's up the line or it's cross court, but Matt only gets to attack and then I only get to counter. So Matt can speed up whenever he wants, but I more so am just focused on countering. And I can counter with a punch, I can counter with a reset, or I can counter by getting out of the way. And then we can change it up, obviously. I can look to speed up first. He has to counterattack. But a lot of situational stuff where it's from the kitchen line and you take out the serve and the return, if that makes sense. Yeah. And then some of the stuff that we do is, we'll play points out. So we'll do like modified skinny singles where like I'll feed in a return, but I'm feeding from the kitchen line. So I'll feed in a return. And then let's say like the situation is the person at the baseline has to drive 2 balls and then we're going to play the point out. Or let's say they have to drive and drop and then we're going to play the point out. Right. But you're, I guess, putting a situation like in a game and then more so I just kind of staying like within those parameters. Kind of cool. I've put together 60 to 75 very specific individual videos that all range from like tactics to technique to court position and then to body position that I'm going to be blasting and I'll have up on my website here pretty soon. Anyhow, there's lots of good stuff out there. With my video stuff, I was more so going for the idea that like there's a lot of content out there, but it's very broad. Nothing's really like, I shouldn't say nothing. It just, a lot of it isn't honed in or it doesn't have like the select parameters where my stuff, and I've been posting some of the stuff obviously on social media, is very specific towards that topic. Like whether it's somebody's using too much wrist on their dink, or maybe it's they're punching a volley versus blocking, or they're not adding enough spin on their roll volley. But like the common tendency is that like little like specific topic. And then we're more so making like a 10-minute video just on that tiny little thing. So super cool. And I don't think there's a lot of people that are making content like that, if that makes sense.
Sounds great. I had a question, Tyson.
Yeah.
So yeah, we as Jimbo was saying, we met Morgan, your coach, and I had a question about because he was he's telling us the relationship he has with you, but in terms of what's your relation with him? What kind of training do you have with him? Can you so explain a little bit more about what kind of the relationship and what kind of coaching it provides you?
Yeah, for sure. So Morg, I mean, he's obviously got a life and he's got plenty to do. So more so we, he checks in on me, stuff like that. But more so his coaching is just on site, like the day of, right? He's there for moral support. He's giving me different patterns, different things, or common tendencies that he sees like within my game, whether it's, court position or I'm being stubborn, or I'm being one-dimensional and losing the same way versus like, I like to say, like, if you're going to lose, make it a long death. Lose in a wide variety of ways. It's tough to take something from a loss when you lost in like one particular way versus like, if I figure out or if I find out that I can't speed up at one particular person, obviously I've got to move it around a little bit, or maybe I'm going to speed up at that person, but I've got to be a bit more selective or a bit more calculated with my target or with my location, or maybe there's a stamp on my forehead that says I'm coming in hot and I gave it away, right? I mean, a wide variety of things there, but more so he's there on site the day of,
Yeah.
But
so you don't do like sort of like a prep. So like let's say you have a tournament in 2 days. So do you do any coaching during those 2 days, or is it just there the day of the tournaments and
Well, I mean, if we were in the same area, I mean, obviously there'd be a lot of that stuff going on, but we're not in the same area. So he just obviously trusts that I'm disciplined enough to get my act together and be training and fit and all the above. But I'm going to keep going over these questions. You have a distinctive serve. Do you put topspin on it? Yes, I put a lot of heavy topspin on it. I'm a true believer in the faster you swing, the more consistent you are on the serve. If we have any tennis players on this Zoom call, most tennis pros out there tell you to like trust your swing and keep swinging free. On the serve, you have to swing free. Why? Because when you get more spin, you only get more dip. So my biggest I guess tip for people that are looking to serve like me or be a bit more offensive on the serve is don't be afraid to miss long. When you swing fast and you trust your serve and you don't guide it or you don't push it and you like really let it go, you're going to find yourself, much more consistent with your depth, much more consistent with your, with like the pace on your serve, all that.
And do you still have the fastest serve?
Well, I have. Well, okay, so all in all, I mean, I had the biggest serve in 2018, but that was when paddle technology was a tad bit different. I mean, paddle technology now, I mean, obviously I've been playing with the Ant paddle for the longest time, which is one of the softer paddles on the market. So for me to bang my serve and to hit it bigger than like a Joey with a gearbox or somebody with a paddle that's like crazy poppy, I mean, obviously, as you can see, it takes a lot of effort, and I use a lot of legs and I use a lot of coil, and then I really try to like accelerate as I make contact. So I'm currently using the Vanguard Power paddle, which I don't have to do as much, and I can bang the serve pretty hard. So now I would say now I'm probably back to hitting it bigger than everybody. But I mean, last year, I mean, with like new paddles coming around, I mean, Joey, Ben, I mean, there's guys hitting it just as big. But I was having to put more effort in, obviously, because my paddle's a little softer. So I'm gonna give myself back that trophy.
Quick follow up on that. When you're serving, depending on who your opponent is, are you moving from within the serving box? Are you moving left or right towards the middle line or towards the sideline? Are you moving depending on who your opponent is, whether he has a strong backhand, a difficult forehand? Or are you just staying in one spot and you bang most of the time from that one spot?
Right. That's a great question, Jimbo. So I always tell this to people. I've made my little bit of money, keyword little bit, because there's not a lot of money in pickleball, obviously, unless you're teaching. I've made my little bit of money in pickleball with living and dying by finding the forehand. So if that doesn't paint a picture, anytime that I hit a return, anytime that I hit a serve, what am I always doing? I'm always looking to slide over so I can utilize my strength. You know, for whether it's, you know, players out there, coaches out there listening. I mean, I don't know. I think there's value in coaching I mean, obviously you want to focus on your students' weaknesses and stuff like that and build everything, but you've really got to focus their whole game around what they do well and what their weapons are. And at the end of the day, if you're going to lose, you should lose by using your best stuff. You know, from a percentage standpoint, it only makes sense. So yeah, I'm always, you know, when I'm on the right side, I slide over towards the middle, you know, so I can find more forehands. When I'm on the left, I cheat way over. So live and die by the forehand. Let's see here. What has been your most satisfying win to date? Any chance it was the Beer City singles event where you destroyed Ben Johns? Karen, I swear you are my girl. You know that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. That is one of the few times. Honestly, I have a funny story about how excited I was in the airport, and my wife is now back in the room, and she could vouch for this story as well. But yes, that hasn't happened a lot. But yeah, I mean, it was one of those days where I was seeing the ball like the size of a watermelon. I mean, it was like I was playing on a football field, and I was you know, playing with a basketball, and it just, everything I hit that day was pure gold. Funny thing is that I struggled to even get to the finals. I ended up beating Cullen in 3. I beat Zane Navatil in 3, and then crazy story, I played Ben in the winners bracket final, and I was up. It was such a freaking heartbreaker. And I guess to note this, I've lost 6 matches against Ben in singles where I've had match points. Choke my life away. Anyhow, so in that particular match, I ended up winning the first game, and then I think I'm up like, I don't know, 10-6 in game 2, and you know, obviously I've choked against Ben before. That starts flirting in the back of my head, and I'm like trying to pull those demons and get them out and say, get your act together. You know, you can do this. And oh my gosh, I ended up I had like 4 match points at 10-6, blew it. But one of the match points, I had run around my backhand. I dropped cross court, pulled Ben out of position. Ben popped it up, and literally I had just a sitting duck to just put it in the freaking open court, and it hit the top of the tape and then rolled off of the net and rolled out. I ended up losing game 2. And then game three, I was so pissed off. I kid you not, I was so pissed off early on. I'm not gonna lie, I think I may have like punched my paddle, but I don't know. I think some players obviously don't use their anger as an advantage, or like they can't capitalize on their anger. Most people obviously don't play well when they're angry, but there's certain little scenarios where if I'm really feisty, I can kind of use that aggression in the right manner. And it just so happened that on that given day in that third game, I like slapped myself in the face, you know, early on in the third game. And I kid you not, I was able to find a level that Ben hadn't seen in my game, nor had I even seen. But it was like one of those things where I was like pissed off, and I'm like, there's no way this guy's gonna beat me. Like I was playing at a very high level. I just kind of choked, and so I knew that early on in the third game, if I could just put the pressure back on, stay with the course, ride the roller coaster, that obviously I could come out and win that match. So yeah, I think I ended up beating him like 11-4 in game 3, and then yeah, beat him 11-4, 11-2 in the finals, which was pretty sweet. But I mean, it's never happened before, but yes, it was very nice. And if that continues to happen, even better.
Yeah. Next week, next month.
Yeah, that's right, man. Number 7 is, how do you choose your partners? I'm a little selective with my partners. You know, I like rather. I mean, so I like partners who give it their all, that are super competitive, that I can win for, that I want to win for. I mean, I just want somebody who cares. I want somebody who cares, who puts the effort in, who trains the right way, who like trusts the formula of putting in the time, and then with putting in the time, good things happen. I mean, just, I don't know. That's what was ingrained in me at a very young age. You know, wrestling and like, you know, being the youngest of 7 in a wrestling family was like, you work your ass off and you get in what you put into a certain degree. So I have a lot of respect for people that I guess have that drive in practice. But Riley, like, you know, super competitive. He's gritty as could be. The guy will always find a way. You know, I mean, I like that idea of like, even if you're not playing well, even if it's ugly, like, don't be afraid to like make it ugly and find a way to win. There's a cool book by Brad Gilbert. Brad Gilbert's a tennis commentator. He played professionally back in the day. He used to coach Andy Roddick, but he has a book that talks about like winning ugly and just finding a way. And if there's a will, there's a way, and, you know, all the above. So at the end of the day, I mean, if you think that your level is always going to be there, it's not. There's going to be certain days where like you just don't have it. But I think what makes champions stand out is those days where things aren't going well and they can find a way. I mean, whether it's Djokovic, Sampras, I mean, there's so many times where those guys, you know, they weren't playing well, but they stayed the course and they mentally stayed with it, and they were able to, you know, dig themselves out of a hole, which I think is a skill set within itself.
Great.
Yeah. And then let's see here. Number 9. What is your dream for pickleball in the future? My dream is to sign a check for $1 million. I'm just kidding.
It's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon. In small gradations, up to a half a million. It's going to happen soon through Coach Jimbo. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, man. So go ahead.
Jimbo, you want to be my coach as well?
What's that?
Jimbo, do you want to be my coach as well?
Of course, Roberto. You've got first dibs. Tyson second. Kyle third. And Ben, he'll take care of himself. He's so young. Tyson's getting old.
Yeah, right, man. So my dream in pickleball in the future, I mean, honestly, it's to you know, stay top 5. I mean, I don't have to be like the best player in the world. I just want to be relevant. But I mean, obviously, as much as I say that, you know, I mean, obviously being number 1 is great. I was number 1 in singles for 2 or 3 years. Now I'm back to number 2. Obviously, if I can make that push and like keep my body in a position where I can keep competing at a high level and, you know, keep constantly improving, you know, I think the sky's the limit. I think Riley and I are like a, you know, top. I mean, I think right now I'm obviously number 2 in singles and then number 2 in men's doubles. I would like to honestly win like 4 or 5 more majors in doubles. I've only won 1. I've won, I believe, 4 or 5. How many in singles? 4 in singles, 1 in doubles. So, I mean, I don't know. If I could win 4 or 5 more in men's, obviously win a couple more in singles, that'd be great. But I mean, more so, I just want to continue growing the sport, you know, from the ground up, not only in the U.S., but internationally. And then, you know, be the best teaching pro in the world, with, you know, really good professional content and different services and just new fun coaching services that people haven't come up with. You know, so all that stuff is very appealing to me.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
We wait for you in Europe, Tyson.
Okay, man. All right. Wait on me. Yeah, I got my wife right over here. You can say hello to her. She just came in from her spa.
Oh, hello.
Uh-huh.
Hello. Yeah. Where are the kids?
The kids are with a babysitter at home, dang it.
Okay.
Where are you right now?
So I'm in Bend, Oregon.
Okay.
I'm back in a hotel in Bend, Oregon. It's kind of funny because last night we like walked into the hotel and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this feels so nice. but it was so funny. Like I haven't traveled in so long, and you know, all last year I did 40 camps. Like I did 40 camps for Level Up last year. I mean, literally, I was just living out of a suitcase and I was just going from hotel to hotel. So last year, I mean, I could, you know, care less about hotels, but but it's just funny, like, you know, what small things do, like when you haven't traveled for a while, and, you know, we got on the plane and just, it's just nice to be like you know, to be traveling a little bit, and it was kind of funny. Yeah, it was actually, it was very nice to like walk in a hotel room last night. I don't know why, but
Tyson, your camps that you run, the camps that you
airline
run,
did you use?
are they sort of broad-based from beginners to 5.0 and a variety of ages, or how do they work?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So I honestly, I mean, I'm gonna be open about this. I think I should. I think the camp market has been saturated, not saturated. I think the camp market has been taken advantage of a little bit, because they've opened camps up from a 3.0 to a 4.5 level, and they're simply saying, hey, everybody go ahead and show up. Well, it takes a select teaching pro to be able to have 2 lesson plans and to be able to, like, you know, give both sides attention, when obviously like the 3.0 and the 3.5 probably need more attention, but you have to balance it out, you know, where I guess the 4.0, 4.5 and the 3.0 and the 3.5 both get, you know, balanced attention. So I'm, you know, I mean, I don't know, like, I think why everybody's done that obviously is because there was plenty of demand, but there was only demand to open it all the way up. Now I think, you know, with how much demand there is and how hungry people are to get better and to get educated and stuff like that, I think there's plenty of demand to do level specific, you know, camps, 3.0, 3.5 by itself, or 2.5 by itself, 4.0, 4.5 by itself. I know personally, I've heard this from a lot of my campers, like, they obviously love coming to my camps, but plain and simple, like, that 4.0 plus level has been pushed out of camps. Why? Because they don't get any attention when they come to camps, because most pros are focused on lower levels. And it's true. I mean, lower level, you know, people tend to ask more questions and stuff like that. So, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm going to be unique in a sense where, we're, you know, not only are we going to do level specific, but, you know, we may even do gender based. We may do age based. I mean, you can do destination stuff where, I mean, kind of like Ben's deal. I mean, not to step on Ben's toes or anything, but that formula totally works where, you know, whether it's people come to me in Coeur d'Alene, or, you know, we go to Mexico or Cabo, or we go to England, whatever, but it's like a week-long retreat where, you know, it's 2 hours of pickle in the morning, and then it's like fun activities that are organized throughout the day. You know, I'm in Bend, Oregon right now, and I'm doing like theme-based camps, you know, so like this morning we had 3.5, we had 3.5 to 4.0 in the morning class, and in the afternoon class we had 4.25 to 4.75, and the theme was like dinking up the line, dinking cross court, and then speed ups. So just like finding, you know, different ways to speed up from the kitchen line, whether it's off the bounce, out of the air, and then also to just general philosophy with dinking cross court and up the line. Tomorrow's theme is transition, talking about like when to drive, when to drop on your third, and then also too on the returning side, kind of what the mindset is, you know, when you're returning, you know, as you're hitting a fourth and as you're hitting a 6 and an 8. So I think there's value in destination, level specific, theme based, you know, gender based. I mean, all that fun stuff. So
I will.
Anybody that
I commend you for going to level based, because my husband and I used to do clinics all the time. But if you don't get the right partner fed with you, they'll often split us. It's worthless if you're not getting the right level competition across the net from you. And so if you do that, you will have those full, I am sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think too, like, you know, I mean, you obviously meet a lot of people playing pickleball, and there's a lot of characters out there, but you know, one of the main things that I hear as I'm teaching camps is like, you know, obviously you know, if it's a 15-hour camp, on day 2, obviously people start getting pretty comfortable and they start voicing their opinions, in which they should. But it's always like the biggest ordeal is like, I don't want to play with Larry because he's not making me better, or, you know, he doesn't play soft. But it's all level specific, right? If you can fix that, you know, by having level specific camps, it obviously makes sense. Then again, though, here's another slap in the face that I deal with time and time again, is that the rating system, not to bash the rating system, not to bash USAP or any of that, but the rating system isn't all that accurate either. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I get, you know, random people coming to camps, and bless their hearts, but they don't know where they're at. You know, they get a rating, but is that rating actually accurate? You know, you take a look at like, you know, a 3-5 player in North Idaho compared to a 3-5 player in Naples, Florida. Naples, Florida is a lot more competitive than North Idaho. So it's tricky. I mean, that whole topic is very, very tricky. Very dicey.
You can't bash the
Spicy
ratings.
topic.
Terrible the way it's set up in their website.
Well, you know what was weird last
go ahead.
year at Bainbridge? I mean, when the folks from India came in, holy crap! I mean, they blew us away. I mean, as far as the people I was playing with, I was playing at a 3-0, and their 3-0s were like 5-0s to me. I mean,
right. What's going on with that?
But,
that's funny. No, that's not cool at all.
You're really doing it.
luckily, they were on the American side.
Yeah, lucky you then.
That helped.
That's good.
But when you look at the rating system as explained in the USAPA website, I mean, that should be a 4-5. But I know that in a tournament here, I won't play about 3-5, and I was trying to venture into 4-0. It just seems like the rating doesn't really match what we're seeing on at least in the local tournament here. It's just, you know.
So many people sandbag too.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's a perfect term, and I saw the same ordeal in tennis. You know, I mean USTA tennis and stuff like that.
But as Tyson said, there's a big disparity across the nation. If you do tournaments throughout U.S. or throughout Europe, you'll find, like you all did in India,
sure.
a 3-0 in Chicago is like a 2 in Naples, as he said. There's a lot of disparity, so it takes a time for people to play everybody else. And we come back from Florida, and they're like, "Oh, you guys should be 4-5s." I'm like, "Well, no, we're like 4-2." You know, so it happens. But I think over time, I think the more people play and take clinics globally or internet, or at least American-wise, it will start spreading. But that's going to take 5 years.
I agree.
Right. Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. I got something fun kind of stirring up in the pipeline. I've been working. I'm not going to say anything yet, but I've been working with a really cool person that has put together a really fun software that could really help the rating system. I'm just going to leave it at that. But we're going to be coming out with a product here in a couple months. Has to do with data and analytics and stuff like that. But pretty cool. So I don't think really anybody's touched that subject in pickleball yet. We're going to integrate it with a few ventures. But essentially, this could. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take, or how much data we have to get to accurately spit out a rating. But it could potentially be very accurate when it comes to ratings, if that makes sense.
Does his first name begin with a J? And not me, by the way.
His first name does not begin with a J. No.
Okay.
He's a very geeky, nerdy gentleman that plays at a high level, and he's been working on all the software and all the coding and stuff, and that's so far over my head. But yeah, pretty cool. I mean, we're gonna be rolling out with it here pretty soon, so it'll be on my website also too. It'll be all over social media. So lots of fun stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to check out anything that I'm doing, be sure to subscribe to my website at TysonMcGuffin.com.
Super. What's the next question? What's the next question?
I think I've ran through all my questions.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions?
I have one question. I have one question. What do you think about intergenerational play? Most of the time here in the Midwest, when I'm not in tournaments around the country, I'm playing with people almost every day between 20 and 60, and I'm older than that. But it helps my game. And we play intergenerationally all the time. Play 2 20-year-olds, 2 30-year-olds, and so forth. It's hard to do that in tournaments around the country. And I know some people have talked about you know, having a combined age like they sometimes do at the US Open, you know, a father
Right.
and son and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
What's
know they
your
were going to do it
thoughts
this year.
about- I did too. And I'm just wondering what you think about that to excite the game, number one.
Right.
And in that connection, how do we excite the general populace? They seem to like singles better, but there's
Right,
much,
for sure.
much more doubles. And, you know, you and I have been to so many tournaments where we're together, and you might have 15 people watching,
Right.
20 people watching. No one really gets excited about it to get a decent crowd. Yes, the US Open, TOC, yes, Huntsman, and so forth, and the Nationals.
Right.
But how are we going to excite the general population to really buy into pickleball and its growth? Like through intramural, through AAU, through what organizational?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a great question. So I mean, honestly, like when I think of that, like ground level to me, yeah, it's AAU, it's, you know, any sort of intramural program, but also too, I mean, take a look at tennis clubs. I think tennis directors have to get on board. I know like when I taught tennis, for all of our 10 and under kids, like, you know, tennis, obviously USTA has come out, you know, come out with like smaller rackets, decompressed balls. You know, there's like a progression, like, you know, ages 4 and under use a red ball. It's super decompressed, small court. Ages 7 under use like an orange ball, and then ages like 11 and under use a green dot ball. Anyhow, it's like super decompressed and then halfway decompressed. Anyhow, what I noticed is that like all the kids, I mean, like if I had a 5-year-old that could hit 5 red balls in a row and keep a red ball rally going for 5 or 6 balls, if I implemented that into pickleball, he could keep a rally going for like 12 to 15 balls. So like I would run these little like Friday night, you know, play days. I would have all the kids come. I would buy pizza. We'd watch a movie for like the last 30 minutes. But the first hour and a half was kids. I would set up matches. I would set up red ball matches. And then I would also, for the kids who I guess couldn't control the ball as much, I would put them on pickleball courts, and then would more so have them play pickleball, which was like a supplement, or I guess which was like a simpler progression to red ball. And I mean, it was cool. Like, you know, I think those early, and I mean, then again, it's speaking through tennis, but plain and simple, I think tennis clubs in general have to embrace it. And those clubs are already established, right? I think it's more so just getting pickleball programs in those tennis clubs and showing tennis directors, hey, you know, if you want crossover athletes, you can do it that way. Or if you just want to grow the sport of pickleball and also to get some revenue for your club, you could add, you know, kid pickleball programs that could lead obviously into getting more people into the facility, selling more services. I mean, it makes sense. So I guess when I think about that like specific topic, I think that just tennis clubs in general, tennis directors have to embrace it. Whether it's leagues, tournaments, bringing new kids in, kid programs. I mean, there's endless options that bring value to a tennis club if you bring in pickleball, right?
Right. But how about the intergenerational?
Right. So I mean, like this year, I believe was like the first year that they were going to do like the 50 and above and 50 and under like age division you know, deal. I was going to play with Cayman McGregor, which is going to be super fun. But yeah, I think and that's what pickleball sells anyhow. It sells family, it sells community, it sells anybody can play at any level. And I think it'd be fun for the viewers to, you know, and yeah, I mean, it'd be fun for the viewers to see both sides, to see the senior side and to see the younger side, and how that comes together. You know, does that bring more fans? I have no idea, but it brings a new element to the sport. You know.
Yeah, I can't tell you the number of people that I meet on any given week who haven't played pickleball, but who say to me, "Oh, Jimbo, that's for older people, isn't it?"
Oh yeah,
you know,
right, of course.
That's people above 60, right? I'm not there yet. I'm still playing tennis, and I see that every week I go into a tennis shop here that's now embraced pickleball, and I bump into so many tennis players that have heard of pickleball. Their kids haven't played it, and they say, I'm waiting till I get older or till I retire. And it just doesn't fill the fan base.
No, it does not. I think too, I mean, we need to educate people better. It needs to be more it needs to be televised more. Just all in all, like the sport just needs to be seen. You know, so.
We need to get it in all the schools.
What was that?
We need to get it in all the schools and get it get them to teach it right, not just. And that's something I'm working on. Doing clinics for the PE teachers, so they're not just giving a pad on, just say back and forth. I have them teach the sport right at the grade level, so they can actually enjoy it and be a little more proficient and maybe stick with it.
No, for sure, right. I mean, obviously, it has to start at the schools, and then obviously, have branches from that AAU, tennis clubs, intramural.
Tyson, you talked about it being on TV. What do you think of rally scoring? Do you reckon that would bring more people into it?
Yeah, that's always a tough one, man. I love that accent, by the way. Where are you from?
England.
England? Oh yeah, is it Neil?
It's Nick.
Nick, got it. Nick Spacey. So yeah, Nick. Yeah, I think your question was, sorry, was it does it need to be televised more? Sorry, what was it again? Sorry.
Oh, rally scoring.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we did rally scoring at the World Pickleball Championships. I'm not gonna lie, it puts a lot more pressure on the pros, knowing that that when you're serving, that you could still lose a point, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, obviously, Jan Poppy, I don't know if you guys know Jan Poppy, super nice guy, but owns Pickle and Tennis US, also runs the Pickleball Global Network website and that whole software. So he tried it as a test run. Yeah, it's super interesting. It spices it up a little bit, makes it more attractive. Yeah, and you know, it definitely like. I think for tournament directors, like, I mean, speaking to like Melissa McCurley, it was really easy for her to schedule matches knowing that it's rally scoring, and that, you know, in a game of 15 of rally scoring, it's only going to take anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. So as far as like TV scheduling, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's one of the toughest things is just, you just never know how long a match is going to go, right?
Yeah. That was the J reference that I was making to Jan, actually, when you were talking about.
Got it. No.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Can you say how much did you change your game knowing of the, you know, you're gonna lose a point if you serve? How much did that influence the way you play your matches? It was more.
You were kind of cutting out a little bit when you first asked that question. What was the start of your question?
Scoring influence how your strategy and how do you play your matches? Did you get more conservative? Did you get more? You know?
Yeah. Great question. So I think it's a little situational. It's a little. I mean, I always answer questions like that. I think it's safe to say that. Why? Because everybody plays differently. Everybody has different strengths. You know, my strengths obviously match up differently to different people. And I mean, so much of this game is all matchup based. I think there's a lot of people that understand that, but, yeah, I think, you know, more so, I go into the match, you know, let's say it's doubles, but go into the match, I take into consideration any sort of previous history I have with that team or with that select individual. You know, but yeah, I guess anytime I go into the match, I'm more so thinking, you know, like, where should we hit our return? And then also too, where should we drop our third? I mean, I'm always thinking we should obviously hit a return to the person who's not going to hurt us as much, or, you know, maybe hit a return to the person who obviously isn't as consistent with their third, or maybe hit a return to the person who's being super aggressive, that's poaching a lot, and it makes sense to want to push them back and keep them honest, right? And then also too, on the flip side, you know, anytime we're driving, I think we're trying to categorize, hey, who doesn't hurt us as much with their fourth ball volley, or who doesn't punch their volley as much, so we can put us in a better position to now hit a fifth shot drop, or put us in a better position just to be offensive by driving to that person, right? And then also too, we start thinking about, where should you drop your third shot? You should be dropping your third shot to the person who probably isn't as offensive with their fourth, or maybe doesn't have as many, offensive options, right? And then also too, I guess once we get into like the meat and potatoes of the match, it's, take into consideration what's working, obviously take into consideration what's not working, focus on all the high percentage stuff that is working. Maybe that's beating your opponent in a soft game. Maybe that's speeding up. But I think anytime you're playing, you have to kind of ask yourself, like, can I beat this team, or can I beat this individual by speeding up? Like, are my hands better? Or if my hands aren't better, can I dink better than this opponent, or than this individual? And to break it down even more, if I feel like I'm speeding up and I'm not able to win a lot of points, I've got to ask myself, do I have a stamp on my forehead that says I'm coming in hot? Am I speeding up on the wrong ball? Am I speeding up towards the wrong location? I think some people get turned away, from certain patterns, but they don't like fully look into the topic and say, hey, well, I can probably beat this person in a couple of different ways. But when I speed up, I can't speed up to their forehand because they're sitting on their forehand. So I probably have to speed up either in this dead space shoulder, or more so maybe speed up a little higher. So it's very situational. It's more so wrapped around what's in front of you, but also too, just take into account when you find momentum going your way and you find, you're winning a big chunk of points. You got to figure out how you got there. Was it through taking a lot of risk? Was it playing high risk, high reward? Or was it just playing by the book and dumbing stuff down and playing soft? And that's some of the stuff I get thinking about. Go ahead, Karen, sorry.
So, well, I was just going to say that I think you misunderstood Keith's question. However, that was gold, so I'm really glad.
Oh, thank you.
With that. His question was, in the rally scoring at the World Championships,
right?
You had the rally scoring, and because you could lose a point on your serve, did it make you play?
Got it. Sorry. Yeah, I got it. Okay. I thought I heard that, but wasn't sure. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit more conservative on the serve in the early round matches. And then something that I did, kind of funny, was I actually just took a big step back off the baseline, or I guess, yeah, just gave myself a little cushion off the baseline. And then I started swinging for my life again on the serve. So yeah, it was kind of more so, giving myself some room, giving myself a little added cushion, not being as conservative. But once I scooted back, then even though it was rally scoring, I kind of thought, well, shoot, I have plenty of room here, and I'm scooted back a little bit. I can, I have license to swing on the serve a bit more. So.
Yeah. I remember watching you at the World Championships. Actually, it was very good.
Yeah, what's crazy about that tournament? It was so wet and soggy. I mean, there was like 99% humidity in Bonita Springs, or in wherever that was. Was it Bonita Springs?
Punta Gorda.
Yeah. Punta Gorda. Yeah, it was wild. Like, I've never seen so much moisture. I mean, and I think everybody's probably seen me play and see how I sweat. I usually sweat like a dog anyhow. And literally, I was just a soaking mess in that disgusting heat. But it was wild. Like, it had rained a couple days, and then obviously anytime it rains in Florida and it gets hot again, I mean, it's just like a steam sauna outside. So it was kind of funny, like the ball and just like the general pace of that whole weekend was very, very slow because the air was super thick. That's another topic to talk about is, you need to play differently when you're playing in humidity. Why? Because it's tough to speed up. It's tough to be offensive because the ball's moving like molasses in the air. It doesn't move as quickly, nor does it have the same effect off the paddle. So yeah, I tend to, anytime that I'm going out east and it's humid as hell, I usually get there early just to like have 3 or 4 days to get a bunch of reps in and just get used to how thick the air is, and I guess get my lungs adapted as well. Because there's not a lot of air to breathe when it's that thick. Obviously I live, West Coast, North Idaho. The elevation's a little higher, air's a little thinner. It's pretty dry too, so you don't have that like dense, humid stuff. And the ball obviously moves through the air much quicker. So.
Which actually reminds me of Texas when it was really hot there. That caused you some problems as well, didn't it?
Let's not even talk about that. No, it's fine. No, I honestly, so I've gone into full body cramps a couple times, and it's probably because I sweat a crazy amount. But it was so stupidly hot I think it was in Dallas. It was so crazy hot in Dallas that weekend. And honestly, like, something that I always have to give Ben respect for is that anytime we're both suffering on the court and we're playing singles, somehow, some way, this 20-year-old kid can like keep it together and put on a poker face like he's not dying. But I know deep down he's suffering just as much as a freaking 30-year-old with 2 kids. But I swear, like, in that match, oh my gosh, it was like 98 degrees with about 90% humidity. It was, I was on the verge of just rolling over and dying. And it was like one of the few times where I saw Ben suffering to a certain degree, but it wasn't anything like how I was suffering. And oh my gosh. And so it's like, I think it's like 4-3 in game 3. And like the ball is like mashed potatoes. Nobody can drive a ball. I'm like trying to swing out of my shoes to even get enough of my serve to get it deep. And so it was all just long, physical cat and mouse stuff that you don't want to play, when it's that hot, right? Oh. And 4-3, game 3, and I could feel something coming on. Next thing I know, like the back of my neck starts getting tingly and my body starts getting cold. Next thing I know, it, like, full body cramps just hits me, and like, it's just rippling through me. So, being like the competitive, stubborn wrestler that I am, I took my 15-minute injury timeout. They had medics on site and stuff, and so they checked me out, and I like fought it off that I was okay, and then I could play the match. And so I tried to go back out on the court, and then once I got back on the court, I literally just fell in like full body cramps. So they picked me up by a wheelchair. Oh yeah. Got me on a wheelchair, rolled me out, got me in like an ambulance. They wanted to take me to the hospital, but I would much rather not pay those ER bills, if you know what I mean, or I guess pay for that ER visit. So more so, I'm like, hey, if we can just, if you can get an IV in me, that's easier, and it obviously much easier on the bank account. And so yeah, it was kind of wild. Like there was 3 other guys in the ambulance with me, and we were all in there just hanging out, and we'd all obviously, people were dropping like flies that weekend. Like Daniel Moore fell on the ground, full body cramps. Morgan, wow. It was so brutally hot. So I was so dehydrated that they couldn't find a vein that was hydrated enough to actually like put it in. So I kid you not, they like tried to like poke me with an IV like 7 times, and they couldn't find any sort of vein. And so, true story, they like turned my neck like they were gonna put an IV in my neck, and I was like, whoa. I was like, I don't think I can manage an IV in the neck. I'm like, I can take a tattoo on the elbow, but I cannot manage a IV in the neck. So I drank a bunch of water. They like wanted to take me to the ER, but drank a bunch of water there in the ambulance, and they actually ended up finding a vein, and I went through 4 bags of fluid.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But what's so crazy about that fluid is that the next day I was like a brand new man. I went from literally having so much lactic acid and so much inflammation and so much buildup and like just so many like, cramps rolling through me, to the next day it was just flushed out. It's pretty wild what those IV bags can do. Wow. I'm actually sponsored by a company called Vitamin Drip. And so now anytime that I go to like really, I shouldn't say any time that I go to select locations, more so I do it like 3 times a month, but I get like an IV 3 times a month with like their high performance bag, which has a bunch of potassium and just good stuff in there that obviously allows me to not cramp when I'm playing in those type of conditions.
Is that the worst sort of injury type related thing that you've had playing pickleball? Not a real injury, but
Yeah. So no, I've been blessed with really no injuries. More so, I've cramped a couple times over the last couple of years, but that's about it. So I've been keeping my body healthy. I guess I can give my sponsors a little shout out here. I use for my health and wellness company or my supplement company, I use ASEA products. It's a company based out of Salt Lake City. So I drink their cell replacement water and then take all their supplements and then use their, I guess, like activated gel that like reactivates cells. So I use their gel, which is like a lotion. Then also too, I use Beamer Therapy. Beamer Therapy is like a recovery therapy hooked up to like a medical device that I lay on a couple times a day. But Beamer Therapy is a German based product, but pretty cool. It's like the new kind of like science behind recovery. Very expensive for one of these products. Like Rafael Nadal uses one.
$15,000. $15,000.
So right. So I paid $6 for mine, and then I got one for free. But yeah, so right now they're actually doing a deal right now. You can buy one for like $3,400, but pretty cool. I mean, honestly, it like allows me to double the workload. I can work out in the morning, play in the afternoon, and it more so like flushes out lactic acid, flushes out inflammation, just puts you in a position where like you have that added 10% in which most athletes are looking for.
Who's selling it for $3,400? Who's selling it?
So yeah, so Jimbo, they're doing a sale right now. If you go to beamertherapy.com, it's called the Beamer Go. And so more so they're not selling the mat, they're selling the medical device and then the pad and then like the specific like the spot.
Okay.
But yeah, anybody that is interested in Beamer, go ahead and send me a message on Instagram or on Facebook. I know that I'm not trying to sell anything at all. But just know that if you're ever interested, I can kind of give you just a general gist of what that's about and stuff like that. Because obviously most people don't want to fork up that money. And it took me about a year to actually believe that this product actually works. But once I gave it about 6 weeks, I was like, oh my gosh. Like the three big things that I saw was mental clarity, added recovery, and then like added energy in the morning and just throughout the day and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of pro athletes. Even a lot of like professional soccer teams that are bringing in Beamer to their complex, and they have like 6 of them, and all their athletes lay on the Beamer. Pretty cool.
I'm interested in it. You have my cell number. You can text me. I'm interested.
Cool, for sure.
You have my cell. I've got 3 very specific questions.
Jim, give me a second. One quick question. Can you, Tyson? Can you spell the name of your health and wellness sponsor? You said ASEA.
Yeah, correct. So it's ASEA. If you go to any of my social media pages, I usually do like, I don't know, 2 or 3 posts a week on just general product posts. Okay. And I talk a lot about ASEA on my social media page. But yeah, kind of cool. So I drink their cell replacement water. More so it like reactivates cells in your body or any sort of dead cells that you have, it reactivates. Same sort of idea kind of as Beamer to a certain degree. Pushes out inflammation, pushes out lactic acid, gives you that nice flush every morning. So you're not feeling like a train, ran you over after a long day of pickleball or whatever. And then I take their full line of supplements. So yeah, kind of cool.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Jimbo.
Yeah.
I just have
very
specific
last question here. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
First of all, do you use a video or a GoPro or something like that for either yourself and or your coaching, because it can be extremely, revelatory, reveal a lot. Do you ever use videos? That's the first very short question.
Okay. So anytime that I'm doing camps, all my 3-day camps, we do a pre and a post video. I'm also going to add analytics to all my camps. So when somebody comes, we would do their pre-video, run the analytics, and then we'd have like a video analysis that first night over dinner. And so, yeah, I think, there's a lot of value and there's a lot of meaning behind seeing yourself play. And I mean, so many people out there worldwide, it's so tough to see what you're doing wrong when you're, I guess, when you're in the spotlight. But from like an outsider view or from a bird's eye view, somebody else looking in sees it in a much different perspective. Take into account Morgan Evans. That's exactly why I brought Morgan on as a coach, because I kept losing to this gentleman named Ben Johns, and I'm still losing to him these days, but I've also beaten him plenty of times. But I was in a position where I was a little one-dimensional. I didn't really understand what I was doing wrong. And so even at the highest level, I mean, I knew that I could better my situation and really open up my package just with general patterns if I had somebody in my corner to slap me in the face a little bit and tell me that I'm being way too stubborn and being way too, way too one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And something that I'm adding with the analytics, obviously, is, somebody sends in 2 games. We would run the analytics on those 2 games. And then I would also do like a video analysis or do a voiceover of those 2 games while speaking through the analytics. And then I would give you like I've talked about, I put together all those instructional, videos. So I would go to my video library, find what makes sense for like the biggest common theme over your 2 games, or I guess whatever makes sense or whatever kind of pops out in your analytics. I'd go to my video library and then send you like a very specific video, that's customized towards that package, if that makes sense.
Second, really quick question: which ball do you like to use better, Dura, the X ball, which is your ball? I mean, more and more they're using the X ball now. So do you like Dura still?
You know what? I've always loved the Dura, but I'm not gonna lie, with my game, like relying on being physical and being super athletic and just like my scrappy ways, the Franklin ball definitely suits my game. Now, it's not more fun to watch because nobody can put the ball away with how soft that Franklin ball is. And it elevates it elevates everybody's game. It more so kind of acts as like an equalizer, where I think, like the top 5 guys in the world probably understand like the Dura ball a bit better and can do more things with the Dura ball versus the Franklin. I think, you bring the Franklin ball into the equation and anybody can really play with the Franklin ball, or there's certain things with the Franklin ball that you can never do with the Dura ball, right? So I've always liked the Dura ball. Obviously with my serve, with my forehand, with like being offensive, love the Dura ball. But in the same sense, from a physical standpoint, I feel like I can kind of I can take people's gas tanks away, with the Franklin ball by extending the point. And I think Riley and I playing with the Franklin ball is pretty deadly.
Oh, wow.
I think Riley and I's ability to like just dig our feet in, put a lot of balls in play good defense. I mean, when you play that game style with a Franklin ball, I mean, you can beat a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's a different game style, and I don't know. Like I teach differently when I teach people with the Franklin ball than I do a Dura ball, or like when I'm teaching in general. I'll talk about these are certain things you would do with a Dura ball, and these are certain things you would do with the Franklin ball. So it's that different that you can honestly have select plays and select methods with different balls.
Wow.
Take us through the first 3 shots.
Jimbo, Tyson said about 10 minutes ago, last question.
Okay, buddy. He loves this. He loves this.
Yeah, the wife may be waiting, and I think I've been on for about 2 hours. Am I the longest one?
Last question.
You must be. You must be the. If you answer Jimbo's question, you will be, Tyson.
Okay, take us through the first 3 shots of a typical singles game. Your 3 shots or return, and whether you're serving or whether you're receiving. Where do you hit that ball as a receiver, and how fast do you come to net? And just assume you're playing a good player, not maybe a Ben Johns, but maybe Ben Johns too. First 3 shots. Okay, so from the serving side, or the returning side, or I guess both. Just do the first 3 shots.
Right. So I mean, obviously, anytime that I serve, I'm more so trying to dictate with the serve. I'm trying to get a little gain. Excuse me, by serving aggressively. I'm taking into account, I guess where I can get like a shorter reply, whether that's serving to the forehand, serving to the backhand, or more so kind of like my go-to is just going big and heavy right at their body, right? So just that big, heavy, loopy serve that kind of forces them to get jammed. Usually that produces a shorter return. in which gives. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Somebody else.
Yeah. So bang the serve. Try to get a little gain there, and then also too, as I'm driving that third ball, obviously looking to take advantage, off of that short return. But more so, I mean, it's a little situational. It's a little wrapped around who I'm playing, but more so just added depth. But every shot that I hit, I'm just trying to I'm trying to gain just a bit more, in the point, whether that's court position, whether that's, keeping them off balance. But I guess my main focus is always just like providing pressure, and like my biggest form of pressure is, going for broke on the serve, being aggressive, with my drive, and then also too, just being physically athletic, letting people know that it's going to take a lot of balls to actually beat me. I think everybody should really kind of figure out in their own game, what is like your biggest form of pressure? Is it like you're like a tactician at heart and you just understand tactics? Is it you're super physical and you're very athletic and you can play scrappy and get a lot of balls in play? Is it you have one like specific shot that's like your gold shot,
Your third shot, you're trying to come up to the net and take the net, drive it long?
Correct. Well, I mean,
Okay.
so if I'm playing singles and I hit a big serve, and I see my opponent is obviously, let's say he's hit a shorter return, but he's trying to come up and get established. I think it depends on how high the ball is. Obviously, if it's short and it's high and I have time and I have license to swing, I'm gonna swing. If it's lower and I'm late to getting up there, I don't know. I always use this phrase sly. And if you guys want to use this phrase, great. Just make sure that you mention my name. So any time that you're looking to speed up, anytime you're looking to be aggressive, whether it's a push dink from the kitchen line, whether it's a speed up, whether it's a drive, anytime you're looking to dictate, you have to tick all those boxes. And sly means stable. You have to be stable. You have to be in the right location of the court. And then the ball has to be in yellow zone or above. Does anybody know what red, yellow, green is?
Regular green?
No. Does anybody know what red, yellow, and green is? Like, I don't know. When I teach, I talk about different spots of the body, from like your hips and above. This is your green light, right? Yeah. From your knees to your hips, this is yellow, right? And then from your knees down, that's red. If you guys want to use that as well, just make sure you mention my name. I mean, anytime that I'm looking to speed up, I'm just looking at those parameters. Like, am I stable? Am I balanced? Am I in the correct position, or am I in the right location? And then, is the ball at an appropriate height where I can speed up at? I'm gonna leave you guys with that.
Tyson, thank you so much.
Tyson,
More important than people, blessings to your family and prayers for a little girl.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You guys have yourself a good weekend. Thanks again for having me. Make sure to keep checking out my stuff on social media. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
And
thank you, Tyson.
Thanks to your wife for letting us
for sure.
know. Thanks to her.
Bye-bye.